How the fuck's it going, everyone? Back today with yet another video. It's bloody boiling in here, it's a glorious day outside, and I'm just coming off an all-nighter from watching the fights last night. Let me know in the comments if you've watched the UFC or anything like that, because I had a fucking blast and I would love to geek out about it if anyone is so inclined. But today I thought I would approach this video from a slightly different angle. So I've seen a few videos, like just on YouTube in general, in the general kind of music collecting sphere, if you will, videos on sort of formats and kind of setups and people's preferences with regards to kind of the formats on which they listen to music. And I don't see that too much in metal. I'm sure I've missed some because I didn't do like extensive kind of market research on this or anything like that, but I just wanted to give my kind of take. Don't suppose any of them are really hot takes, but yeah, I just wanted to have a quick chat about it instead of just throwing a few albums at you, which I will do straight after this. I do plan on filming another video directly afterwards, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, so what we've got going on in the background, first of all, once I get myself organised, this is Against the Plagues. Not sure how many albums in this was, but this is their full-length album entitled Purified through Devastation. This was put out in 2015 through Non-Servium Records. Now I'm pretty sure Infidel Amsterdam put me onto this band through one of his videos, and yeah, I'm pretty pleased he did, to be honest. This is like fairly unchallenging, fairly run-of-the-mill kind of modern death metal. And it's modern in the sense that, like bands like Aborted, they've just mixed a lot of different avenues and angles of death metal and just stirred it up into this melting pot of destruction, basically. So we've got melody, we've got technicality, we've got brutality. We don't have any symphonic elements, which is fine by me. That can stay the fuck out of this. Symphonic death metal is definitely not my cup of tea. But yeah, this is really good fun. Blistering, just in your face, lots of interesting kind of lead work on this thing. Yeah, just a good time if you just want to sit down and have your brain pummeled into mulch. Yeah, fantastic shit. Against the Plagues, Purified through Devastation. Okay, so I'll just get straight into it, basically. So if you've been following me on this channel for a while, or even over on my Instagram channel, then you will already know that I predominantly collect CDs and vinyl, with the exception of like 2 cassette tapes, one of which I've got here. So I'm basically just going to talk about some of the pros and cons, my preferences, why I think what I think, and yeah, hopefully this influences some nice discussion down below in the comments, once I can fucking think of the words I'm going to use. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. So this is the vinyl version from 2014 of Death's Symbolic. This was put out through Metal Blade Records, at least this pressing was. And this is the Roadrunner Records CD version. This is one of the represses, but I'm not sure when this one actually came out. But yeah, first of all, let's just talk about the obvious here. So the artwork. If you can see there, you can see how many more times. It's approximately 4 times the size on the vinyl version. So you shouldn't really judge a book by its cover, in my opinion. That's why kind of blind buys are a bit of a no-go for me when it comes to kind of music and albums, unless it's like a cheap as shit CD that I like the look of. But the artwork is just a huge part of the kind of overall art form, as far as I'm concerned. And if you can't see the artwork quite as well, it just kind of takes away from the experience for me. The thing I love about having vinyl is it's a piece of art in itself, just the physical kind of side of things and the kind of aesthetic side of things. You can pull this off the shelf and you've got a piece of art in your hands. Now, this kind of goes for the CD as well. There is absolutely reason to have this. You can hold it in your hand, you can have a look at it closely, you can take the booklets out, however, I will get into that in a second. And you've got the kind of piece. You can look at it pretty well. However, it's just not quite the same. I feel like with the kind of vinyl copies, you can see things in greater detail. You can immerse yourself in the art, in the kind of cover art piece as a whole, whilst you're listening to the music a bit more effectively. You can just, I've got an easel that I like to put my records on, or at least the jacket on, while the album's spinning, and it just helps you get kind of lost in the artwork. One thing I will say about kind of cover art is, if the artwork is dog shit, then the kind of size of a vinyl cover exacerbates that and makes it so much worse. Just kind of highlights how shit the artwork is, so it can be detrimental in that way. But with a piece like this that's so interesting and abstract, and kind of detailed, it just kind of, it's more interesting and more kind of effective than just having the CD. Yeah, and same goes for the kind of back cover. You don't need like a magnifying glass to read the kind of like album information and stuff like that, although they still write it in obscenely tiny writing, and then the track listing and things like that. This isn't a great example of like great back cover artwork, but yeah, on a lot of them you'd still get like a different piece on the back, so again, you can kind of see the details a bit more, and kind of appreciate the art as it was intended, because of course it was painted on a larger canvas sort of thing. Another obvious thing is digital music just isn't quite as effective. Of course, analog music, which you get on vinyl copies and vinyl releases, is much more in depth. You can hear things clearer, basically. So I'm no audiophile by any stretch of the imagination. My kit is just my kit. It does the job. I can hear the album perfectly, and that's that. That's about as far as it goes. If you gave me a different stylus or whatever, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I'm not that kind of audiophile nerd. As much as I kind of wish I was, however, that shit sounds expensive, so kind of pleased I'm not. But I can definitely tell when you put a CD version onto your CD player and press play, there are things that are kind of drowned out or lost just because of the digital sound, basically. So things are just lost in the void. They end up in a bit of a convoluted mess in the background, not noticeably so, because there's probably a problem with your CD player if that's happening. However, when you put a vinyl copy on, or at least when I do, I can hear things much more clearly. So background kind of guitar harmonizations and things like this, the depth of the kind of bass tone and the sort of overall soundscape just sounds a lot clearer on vinyl, which that's something that, like, when I was a kid I would never have noticed. However, getting more into vinyl, and especially when I'm buying like 2 copies of things like I did with this, yeah, it's quite clear. So if you want to hear everything that the musicians intended, every little bit of detail, every kind of like, you might even think insignificant kind of aspect of the album that doesn't really matter if it's washed in the background, you can hear them perfectly. Makes the album experience much more enjoyable, for me at least. Yeah. However, so CDs I do still buy, of course. You see them going on in the background. I often show them at the beginning of videos. I've even done like a full like worst albums in my collection, CD collection, because I was collecting these at first. CDs definitely have a place in my collection. One of those reasons is for the purpose of having on in the background of videos, for example. So as you saw whilst I was like in a different setting and stuff, when I was putting records on in the background of videos, I had to get up and change it halfway through. So that's something, it's just a lot more hands-off. You can just put the CD on and there you go, you're away. You don't need to kind of worry about it anymore. But also they're very portable. They're excellent for car journeys. I'm going to see if I can sort that glare out. There we go. They're perfect for car journeys. You can just kind of bring along 5 or 6 of them, whack them in the glove box, and there you go. You've got 5 albums, kind of approximately 5 hours of music, just at your fingertips, basically. You can transfer them over to kind of digital platforms such as iTunes or whatever you prefer to use. So you can have the physical copies, but you can also add them into your library where you can only keep stuff that you've bought, which I can see a huge satisfaction in doing. Yeah, they're just portable is basically what I'm trying to say. A lot less space consuming. As you can see, there's 3 shelves here. I've got another one that's entirely full over there as well. I'm kind of running out of space for the music, which is kind of crazy. As you can imagine, it's very like space consuming if you don't collect vinyl and you're just into the metal music that I show. If you're thinking about collecting vinyl, I always kind of refer to it as a very inconvenient, very expensive, very space consuming hobby. When you have to move this shit, it is ridiculous. It's so heavy and cumbersome, and you need loads of boxes to put it in, or I'll still need some boxes to put them in for if I move them about again. I'm hoping not to at any point soon. But yeah, if ever I move house and things like that, just kind of crazy inconvenient. But yeah, I just prefer the overall thing of vinyl kind of thing. So another thing that I love about vinyl is the fact that you can get these kind of coloured editions, which I think again enhances the experience. So if you can imagine, I mean, this is just a plain white disc, as you can see, but when this is spinning, it's just enjoyable to kind of watch it. It's almost hypnotic. And yeah, it's not just put in a CD player where you don't see the disc anymore, because even still with CDs, you still get some kind of nice like art on the disc, which is really cool. Like I love that shit. Really interesting. I love kind of the embossing kind of effect going on it with the logo there. But yeah, you just jam it in the CD player and away you go, and you don't see the disc again until you take it back out of the tray. But yeah, coloured vinyl, I don't know, it adds to the collecting aspect of it, because more often than not, these are limited to 500, 300, 100, even less if you're going into the kind of raw black metal kind of way of life, which is a whole other kind of kettle of fish and a whole other kind of rabbit hole. But yeah, again, aesthetically, it's just another thing that I prefer about vinyl. I love watching it spin on the turntable while I'm enjoying the artwork, while I'm enjoying the music itself. So yeah, I feel like there's quite a lot going for vinyl in general, and with vinyl, because you've got more space, hang on, I'll just pop that back. Because you've got more space and more room to maneuver, often these inserts are a lot more detailed. You've got more room for the sort of liner notes and lyrics and kind of credits that the band put on. I even see lots of kind of interviews on represses that come out, which I just love. It just adds to the whole thing. You can nerd out about whichever specific band you wish, again, especially on repress stuff. And yeah, just again, part of the immersion, part of the immersive experience of music, of the art form as a whole. Now, what I was going to say before was, one huge gripe, so do tell me in the comments if I'm doing this wrong, because it's entirely possible, but one huge gripe of CDs and CD cases in general, especially these dual cases, is these fucking things. So when you want to take your kind of booklet out, you've got to kind of bend and crease and whatever else that very flimsy piece of card, which in turn ruins the artwork, ruins your kind of lyrics and things like that. Of course, as careful as you want to be, you can't really avoid the kind of spines getting bent, which is really, really fucking frustrating. And I just feel like, why would you create something that's so easy to sort of break? I've spent my money on this. I want things to be as close to perfect as physically possible. Of course, I like a bit of kind of wear and tear, same on vinyl. Like, I love buying beat up copies of records, but yeah, that's just kind of annoying, especially when I've just bought a CD and I've got to fuck up the booklet to get it out. That's one of the positives about digipack CDs, where you can just kind of take it out like a vinyl jacket. The final thing that I really want to talk about with this is this. What you've got going on in the background behind me. So, CDs, yes, if you fill your kind of racks and things, it looks pretty cool. If you watch Infidel Amsterdam, I've shouted them out twice today. I'll drop a channel in the link in the description below, sorry. Fucking get your words out, boy. He's got like a ridiculous wall of CDs and it looks insane, but I feel like vinyl is more a part of the furniture. You can walk into a living room or a record room that's just kind of entirely based around records, and you see the vinyl kind of shelves. It looks interesting. It looks nice. It looks like you just want to, even if you're not into any of the metal music, you just want to go and pick a record off the shelf, often to just check out the artwork and things like that. Like, I do that in record shops. I just want to look at them. But I just think this looks glorious. All the different coloured spines, the alphabetization, so satisfying to me. I just like the look of it. Again, aesthetically, amazing. But yes, as I say, we've got the kind of, we've covered the musical side of it, so the music generally just sounds better. Analog is, of course, superior in sound quality to digital. Yeah, so they're pretty much my takes. I didn't have like an agenda for this, I just wanted to do this off the cuff. So do let me know if I've forgotten anything there. I'm sure I'll come off the off camera here and realise I've forgotten to talk about something. But yeah, give me your takes. Another thing I did forget to talk about was these things. This is Cerulean Salvation by Tomb Mold. I got this for free. Derek Vella sent this to me because of some postage issues that I had. These things wear out, which is why I don't like to kind of spend my money on them. However, I'm always kind of enthusiastic to have them because they're very satisfying to have. I just love the kind of rattle of the tape, and I love the little kind of J cards that you get with them and stuff like that. Like, I love the aesthetics of them, but I don't like the thought of them being able to wear out, like if you listen to them too much or anything like that. But yeah, that was the last little snippet I wanted to talk about. I'm going to do another vid straight after this to throw some kind of death metal recommendations your way just for the new work week coming up. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope a lot of that made sense. I hope it wasn't just jumbled up rambling. I will find out after I finish this, but regardless, thank you all so much for the support. Even the dickheads who keep commenting saying, you're shit, you look like an idiot, or whatever the fuck you keep saying. It's all appreciated. Thank you as always, take care as always, and I will catch yous in the next one.